The night on Colony 47 was quiet, almost too quiet. The cold wind moved through the tall silver trees, making soft whispering sounds. Most humans inside the colony were already asleep, but one young soldier, Elias Ward, stayed awake. He was on patrol duty, walking slowly along the outer fence with his flashlight and scanner. Elias was calm, but inside his heart he felt something strange. For the last 3 nights, he sensed that someone or something was watching him. He could not explain it. His scanner never showed anything. The cameras never caught anything. But his instincts told him he wasn't alone. Tonight, the feeling was stronger. Elias stopped walking and looked toward the forest. The trees stood still like dark giants. The shadows looked deeper than usual, as if someone was hiding inside them. He breathed out slowly, watching his warm breath rise in the cold air. "Who's there?" he whispered. There was no answer, but there was someone watching. Hidden between the trees, an alien girl stood silently. Her name was Lyra, a member of a rare and secret species. Her skin glowed softly under the moonlight, and her silver eyes reflected everything like mirrors. Her people were born with a special ability. They could bend light around their bodies. With this power, they became almost fully invisible to the human eye. Lyra believed she was perfect at hiding. She had watched humans for weeks, learning their behavior. She thought humans were noisy, careless, and blind. She thought they would never detect her. She was wrong. As she observed Elias, she saw something unexpected. He suddenly turned his head directly toward her. Lyra froze. This had never happened before. Humans normally looked past her, through her, around her, never at her. But Elias was staring straight at the place where she stood, even though she was invisible. Her heart raced. "Can he see me?" she thought. Elias took one slow step forward. His eyes narrowed, not in anger but in curiosity. He didn't lift his gun. He didn't shout. He simply listened. He heard the soft crunch of leaves, a step that wasn't his. He wasn't imagining things this time. Someone was there. Lyra took a step back. Her body flickered as her invisibility weakened for just half a second. Elias saw it, a quick shimmer in the air, like heat waves rising from the ground. His breath caught. "There," he whispered, pointing at the empty space. "I know you're there." Lyra's mind panicked. How can a human sense me? No one has ever sensed us before. Her training told her to run. Humans were dangerous. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were destroyers. Her people always stayed hidden from them for one reason: survival. But something inside her made her stay for one moment longer. This human didn't seem dangerous. His voice wasn't sharp. His body was relaxed. His eyes weren't full of fear or anger. They were gentle. Still, Lyra could not risk being caught. She turned and ran deeper into the forest, her steps light and fast. Her invisibility flickered again, unstable from fear. The more she panicked, the weaker her power became. Elias followed her, not fast, but steady. "I'm not here to hurt you," he called out softly. "Please, stop running." His voice echoed through the trees. Lyra kept running until she reached a small clearing filled with silver moss. But she was tired. She hadn't eaten enough. She hadn't rested. Her invisibility power drained her energy, and now she felt weak. Her knees gave out and she fell to the ground. She tried to stand again, but she COULDN, single quotes T. Elias slowly entered the clearing. He still couldn't fully see her, but he knew she was there. The air shimmered again, like light passing through water. Then, for the first time, her cloaking completely failed. A soft blue glow covered her body. Her shape appeared small, delicate, and unlike anything he had ever seen. She had glowing white skin, silver eyes, and faint, transparent wings made of light that trembled as she breathed. Elias stared, stunned. Lyra looked up at him with fear. Her eyes were wide, almost childlike, expecting him to attack or scream or call for backup. He didn't. He slowly knelt beside her and whispered, "It's okay. I see you." Those simple words broke the silence of the forest. Lyra shook her head. She didn't understand. Humans were supposed to be cruel. Humans were supposed to hunt anything unknown. But this human was different. As she tried to speak, her voice cracked. Human, stay away." Elias shook his head gently. "I won't hurt you," he said again. Lyra looked at him in confusion and fear. Her eyes glowed like small moons. She wanted to run again, but her body refused to move. She felt her energy fading. Her vision blurred, and before she could say another word, her body collapsed forward. Elias quickly caught her in his arms to keep her from falling onto the cold ground. Her body felt light, almost weightless. Hey, stay with me," he whispered, but Lyra didn't answer. She had fainted. Elias looked around the dark forest, then down at the strange glowing girl in his arms. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know where she came from. He didn't know why she was watching the colony, but he knew one thing: she needed help. And somehow, she trusted him enough to let him see her. The part ends with Elias lifting her carefully and whispering into the quiet night, "You're not invisible to me." Elias carried the alien girl through the silent forest. Her body felt warm and soft, almost like she was made of light instead of flesh. A faint glow followed her everywhere, casting soft blue color on the leaves and trees around them. She was beautiful and strange, and Elias had no idea what she was or why she had collapsed. He reached an old supply shelter hidden near the edge of the colony. It was small, dusty, and half-broken, but it was the safest place he could take her without. Alerting the military, he gently placed her on a soft blanket. For a moment, he simply stared. Her wings looked like thin sheets of glass, glowing gently with silver lines. Her skin wasn't like human skin. It looked smoother, almost liquid. Her hair floated slightly, as if it followed a breeze that didn't exist. She looked peaceful now, almost innocent. Elias whispered, "Who are you?" He didn't expect an answer, but she moved. Her eyes opened, slowly revealing silver pupils that reflected the world like mirrors. When she saw him, she gasped and tried to sit up, but her weak body stopped her. She pressed her back against the wall, her breath fast and uneven. "Stay away," she whispered. Elias raised both hands slowly to show he meant no harm. "It's okay, I won't hurt you." Her eyes narrowed. "You saw me?" "Yes," Elias said softly. "I saw you even when you were invisible." Lyra's heart dropped. Humans were never supposed to see her species. Their greatest safety was invisibility. If one human could see her, maybe others could too. Maybe her people were not safe anymore. But Elias spoke again, interrupting her fear. "You collapsed. You were exhausted. I brought you here to help." "Help?" she repeated. Confused. "No human helps us." Elias frowned. "Why not?" Lyra lowered her head. "Because humans destroy. Humans take. Humans fight for land and power. We are taught to stay hidden from your kind. We are told that if you see us, you will end us." Elias looked at her. Surprised. He didn't feel angry, he felt sad. "What kind of humans have you seen?" he asked quietly. She hesitated. "The ones who start fires. The ones who kill planets. The ones who burn forests and oceans." Elias shook his head. "Not all humans are like that." Lyra watched him carefully. His voice was gentle, but humans were skilled at deception. She did not trust easily. She tried to stand, but her legs trembled, and she fell again. Elias quickly stepped forward. "Hey, slow down. You're hurt. Do not touch me," she cried, but the moment she tried to move again, her body collapsed. Forward. Elias caught her gently. He felt her glowing hands against his chest. Her touch was warm, almost electric. Lyra looked at him with shock. No human, has ever touched us. Elias smiled softly. First time for everything. She stared into his eyes, confused and scared and curious all at once. After a long silence, she whispered, "Why didn't you attack? Why didn't you call others?" Elias sat on the floor, keeping distance so she didn't feel trapped. "Because you looked scared. And I don't attack people who are scared." His words surprised her. Back home, fear was seen as weakness. Compassion was dangerous. Her people believed humans had no softness in them. They believed humans only understood power, but this human was different. Lyra's voice softened. "You are not like the stories." Elias replied, "Maybe your stories are old. Maybe they're wrong." Lyra lowered her eyes. For the first time she began to wonder. What else was wrong? She slowly touched her wings. The edges flickered, unstable. Her invisibility had burned too much energy. She wouldn't be able to hide again until she recovered. She looked at Elias. "If others see me, they will fear me." Elias chuckled softly. "Humans fear everything. At first, but we also learn fast." Then his smile faded as he noticed the trembling in her hands. "You're still weak. Let me get you water." He stood up and walked to the corner of the shelter. Lyra watched him carefully, her survival instinct still sharp. But for the first time, she did not feel like running. He returned with a metal cup filled with clean water and placed it near her, without forcing her to take it. "You can drink when you are ready," he said gently. Lyra's silver eyes studied the cup, then Elias, then the cup again. With shaky hands, she reached out and lifted it. The moment the cool water touched her lips, she felt life return to her cells. A soft glow grew around her, and the trembling slowed. Elias noticed. "That's better," he whispered. Lyra looked at him, confused by his kindness. Her people never helped outsiders. They never cared about strangers. But this human cared without reason. "Why are you helping me?" she asked quietly. Elias looked away for a moment, thinking. Then he answered honestly, "Because I saw someone alone in the dark. And I don't leave people alone." Her heart shook. No one had ever said something like that to her. Suddenly, the shelter lights flickered. Her wings twitched nervously. "What's wrong?" Elias asked. Lyra swallowed hard. She didn't want to say it, but he deserved truth. So she whispered, "There is another reason I watched your colony." Elias leaned forward slightly. "What reason?" Lyra looked into his eyes. Her voice was soft, trembling. "We are not here to harm you. We are running. Something terrible follows us. Something that destroys whole star systems." Elias felt a chill run through his spine. "What kind of something?" Lyra closed her eyes, fear filling her face. "They are called the Devourers, and they found our trail." Elias steadied himself. "When will they reach us?" Lyra whispered the words that changed everything. "Tonight." The old shelter grew colder as midnight approached. Elias and Lyra sat across from each other, one human, one alien, two strangers who never should have met. Outside, the wind pressed against the metal walls, making them shake softly. The darkness felt heavier now, as if something distant was watching. Lyra kept touching her glowing wings, trying to calm herself, but nothing helped. Her hands trembled. Her voice refused to steady. Elias watched her carefully. "Lyra," he said gently, "you need to tell me everything. What is coming tonight?" Lyra looked up at him with silver eyes full of fear Elias had never seen in any living creature. Not even in soldiers facing war. She took a slow breath. "The Devourers. I wish the name was only a story, but they are real. They destroy planets, they burn stars. They wipe out every living thing, and they never stop." Elias frowned. "But why come here? Why our colony?" Lyra closed her eyes. "Because my people ran, and we ran in this direction." Elias felt a chill. "You led them here?" I did not want to, Lyra whispered. But they always find us. They follow our energy trails. They hunt us. She hugged her knees tightly, her wings folding around her like a shield. Elias leaned forward. So your people are hiding nearby? Lyra nodded weakly. Yes, hundreds of us. Invisible, always invisible. We stay in the forests and mountains. Around your colony. We watch your movements. We avoid your machines. We stay silent. Elias blinked in shock. You mean, you've been here this whole time? For many weeks, she whispered. Elias felt his heart drop. He had no idea invisible watchers lived so close. The colony's security systems detected nothing. Humans believed they were alone on this side of the galaxy. Lyra continued, her voice small. We thought you would attack us if we revealed ourselves. But now, the devourers are coming. And hiding will not save us. Elias rubbed his forehead, trying to process everything. If this enemy is so powerful, how do you even escape them? We don't escape, Lyra said softly. We survive. For a little longer each time, Elias looked at her carefully. But if they come tonight, does your people have a plan? Lyra hesitated. Lyra, Elias pressed. She lowered her head. Our plan was to leave this planet before nightfall. But I stayed behind because I was watching you. I delayed. And now, my people cannot leave without exposing themselves. Elias stared at her, stunned. So because you stayed, everyone is in danger? Lyra clenched her fists. Yes, but Elias didn't shout. He didn't blame her. He simply said, then we protect them. Lyra looked at him with disbelief. You protect us? Why not? Elias said calmly. You need help. Lyra shook her head. But humans never help outsiders. Humans help only their own kind. Elias laughed softly. You met the wrong humans then. Before Lyra could respond, the shelter lights flickered again. The ground vibrated slightly. Lyra's wings began to glow brighter. They are closer. Elias stood up, grabbed his rifle, and checked the power cell. How many devourer ships? 3 small scouts, Lyra said. But 1 destroyer behind them. Elias froze. A destroyer was the size of a floating city. His small colony didn't have weapons strong enough to stop something like that. He swallowed hard. We need to warn the commanders. No. Lyra's voice cracked. If humans prepare weapons, the devourers will sense the energy spike. They will attack faster. Elias stared at her. You want us to do nothing? I want us to stay hidden, she whispered. But hiding won't protect the colony, Elias argued. They'll find us anyway. Lyra shut her eyes. Yes, they will. The fear in her voice was so deep, Elias felt it in his bones. After a long silence, he knelt beside her. Lyra, look at me. She slowly lifted her head. You said your people are scared. You said they always hide. But hiding never saved them. Running never saved them. Maybe you try something different. This time, Lyra frowned. Different? Yes, Elias said. You fight. Her wings trembled violently. We are not warriors. We were born peaceful. We do not kill. We do not fight. But you die anyway, Elias said softly. Lyra looked away, pain filling her face. Her people had lost thousands over the years. Entire families vanished because they refused to fight. They believed violence corrupted the soul. But Elias's words stung with truth. He stood up. I'm going to the lookout tower. I need to see how close the ships are. You stay here. No, Lyra interrupted. She slowly stood, her body still weak but her voice stronger. I come with you. Elias raised an eyebrow. You sure? Yes. If danger was near, she would not hide behind him. Not anymore. They stepped out of the shelter. The night sky pulsed with faint red lines, streaks of light that weren't natural. Elias whispered, What is that? Lyra's voice shook. Devourer tracking beams. They search for life. Elias clenched his jaw. Then we need to warn your people. But before they could move, a sound ripped through the night, a deep, metallic roar echoing from the sky. Lyra grabbed Elias's arm. They found us. Far above, 3 dark shapes broke through the clouds, Devourer scout ships, but that wasn't the worst part. Behind them, something much larger moved in the darkness, a shape so big it blocked the stars. The destroyer. Lyra whispered the words Elias feared most. They have arrived. The night sky changed. A moment ago, it was dark and calm. Now it glowed with red waves of light like giant scars across the sky. Elias and Lyra stood frozen in the open field, staring upward. Above them, the Devourer ships broke through the clouds like metal beasts. 3 scout ships came first, sharp and fast, shaped like black spears. Behind them, the giant destroyer moved slowly, peacefully, almost like it didn't even need speed. It came with the confidence of something that had destroyed countless worlds before this one. Elias felt the ground shake. Lyra felt her heart break. They came faster than I thought, she whispered. Elias kept his voice steady. Can the colony see them? Lyra shook her head. No, the Devourers use dark matter cloaking. Humans cannot detect them until they want to be seen. Elias lifted his scanner. Nothing showed. He pointed upward. But they're right there. Yes, Lyra said softly. They hide in plain sight. The Devourer ships hovered silently above the forest. No engines, no sound, no warning. Elias knew something was terribly wrong. He turned to Lyra. Your people, we need to find them now. But Lyra looked frozen, terrified. They won't come. They won't show themselves. They will remain invisible, even if it kills them. Elias grabbed her shoulders gently. Then you talk to them. You said you stayed to watch me, that you broke rules. That means you think differently. Lyra's wings shook. My people listen only to the elders. I am young. I am nothing. Not nothing, Elias said firmly. You're the only one who can save them. Something in his voice made her breathe deeper. He believed in her, something no one in her own species ever did. She nodded slowly. Fine, I will try. Elias exhaled. Good. Now what do we do about the ships? Before Lyra could answer, one of the Devourer scouts lowered itself into the forest. Its dark hull slid between the trees without touching a single branch. It moved like a living creature, sensing everything around it. Lyra whispered, They are scanning for heat, movement, life. And they'll find your people? Yes, unless. Her eyes widened with an idea. Elias saw her expression change. Unless what? We blocked their scan signal. Elias raised an eyebrow. With what? My flashlight. Lyra shook her head. With me. Elias frowned. What can you do? Lyra stepped forward. Her wings opened fully for the first time. The glow around her body brightened, filling the field with soft silver light. Elias stared in awe. What is happening? My species was not made for war, Lyra said quietly. But we were made for something else, like bending. Energy redirection. I can distort their scan beams long enough. Long enough for someone to warn the colony. Elias understood instantly. You want me to go? Yes, she said. Humans will listen to another human. They will not trust me. Elias hesitated. But you'll be exposed. Lyra swallowed. Yes. And if they see you, they will kill me, she whispered. Quickly, the Devourer scout ship hummed. Its underbelly opened, revealing spiraling rings of dark red energy. A scan burst. The forest lit up in blood-red waves. Lyra reacted instantly. She ran toward the trees, her wings glowing as she formed a barrier of bent light. The red scan hit her shield and scattered into hundreds of soft sparks. Elias watched with shock. She was beautiful, brave, self-sacrificing. Go, she shouted. Warn the humans before the destroyer charges its main weapon. Elias ran. He sprinted through the fields toward the colony watchtower. Breathing hard, legs burning. Behind him, the forest exploded with red flashes as Lyra struggled to keep the devourer scanned from detecting her hidden people. Every second counted. When Elias reached the colony gates, 2 guards stopped him. Ward? Why are you off patrol? Where's your report? Elias pointed at the sky. We're under attack. The guards looked up, saw nothing. Ward, there's nothing there. Are you injured? They're cloaked, Elias shouted. Dark matter ships, big ones. I saw them with my own eyes. The guards exchanged a confused look. Elias slammed his hand on the emergency alarm button. It doesn't matter, sound the alert. Now. The sirens blared across the colony. Humans came running out of their homes. Soldiers grabbed weapons. Engineers rushed to activate the defense shields, but none of them saw the danger above. Inside the command center, Elias stood before Commander Holt, a strict, stone-faced leader. Ward, Holt said, you hit the emergency alarm without authorization. Why? Elias pointed to the radar screens. They won't show up. They're cloaked. But they're here, I saw them. Commander Holt narrowed his eyes. Saw? With what sensor? With my own eyes, Elias said. That made the room go silent. Holt lowered his voice. What exactly did you see? And so Elias told him about the invisible alien girl, about her people, about the devourers, about the destroyer ship above them. The officers stared at him like he had lost his mind. One of them whispered, "This sounds like a hallucination." But before they could dismiss him, the entire colony shook. Lights flickered. Glass shattered. The ground vibrated like a giant had stepped on the planet. Commander Holt shouted, "Report!" A young technician screamed. Something hit the outer shield, something massive. Then the cloaking lifted. Everyone looked at the sky through the control tower's glass, and there it was. The Devourer destroyer revealed itself, a giant dark creature of metal and fire. Floating above the colony like a god of death, people screamed. Soldiers froze. Some dropped to their knees. Elias whispered, "I told you." Commander Holt stared upward, horrified. "What is that?" Elias answered quietly, "The thing she was running from." Far below in the forest, Lyra fell to her knees, her light shield breaking. The devourers had found her people. Her last whisper drifted into the night. "Elias, I hope you are ready." The forest glowed red as the devourer scouts circled lower, tightening their ring around Lyra. Her light shield flickered like a candle in a storm. Every second she held the scan beams back, she lost more energy. Her breath grew weaker. Her body felt heavier, but she kept standing for her people. For Elias, for a world that didn't even know it was in danger. Her wings cracked with strain. The forest floor trembled. She whispered to herself, "Just a little longer. Hold it. Just a little." A beam struck harder than before. She screamed as the light barrier around her shattered into 1,000 silver fragments. Devourer scout ship turned its red eye toward her. It finally saw her, and it marked her. Elias reaches the colony center. Inside the colony, chaos ruled. The command center. Red alarms flashed across the metal walls. Officers yelled into radios. The outer shield sparked as the destroyer ship pressed against it like a predator, testing its cage. Elias pushed through the noise, heading straight toward Commander Holt. "Holt, we don't have time. The scouts will find her people. If they die, we die next." Commander Holt's voice cracked. "What can we possibly do against that?" He pointed toward the giant destroyer that darkened the sky like an artificial moon. Elias didn't answer right away. He looked at the screen showing the forest. He saw glowing red movement. He knew Lyra was there. "We help her," Elias said. Firmly, Holt stared at him. "You want humans to join forces with an unknown alien species?" Either we fight together, Elias said, or we die alone. Silence fell in the room. And then, Holt hit the general broadcast switch. Attention. Colony. All units ready for combat. Prepare ground teams for forest deployment. Elias felt hope spark in his chest. Humans were finally waking up. Lyra stands alone back in the forest. Lyra struggled to stand. Her legs shook. Her wings dimmed. Her invisibility was gone completely. She was visible and exposed for the first time in years. The Devourer ship lowered even more. Its red lights scanned her body and sent the information to the destroyer above. Lyra felt its hunger, an ancient cold hunger that had consumed thousands of species before hers. A voice echoed through her mind, not spoken but transmitted through. Energy. Target found. Species, Lightweaver, energy level, high, priority capture. Lyra trembled. The voice felt like knives inside her head. No, she whispered. Not again. She remembered her home world burning. She remembered the screams of her people. She remembered the last time she ran instead of fighting. Not this time. Lyra stood. Tall. Her wings spread wide. Her glow returned, brighter than before. This time not from fear, but from choice. I will not run anymore. The air around her bent. The forest shook. Humans enter the forest. Elias led the first ground team. Into the forest. Soldiers, engineers, medics, anyone able to hold a weapon. He shouted. Form lines, keep your eyes open. If you see anything invisible, don't shoot until I say. A soldier whispered nervously, Sir, what exactly are we looking for? Elias. Didn't slow down. You'll know when you see her. They moved deeper. The red glow ahead grew stronger. Then they heard a scream, a sound like metal grinding against stone. It was the Devourer scout. Elias sprinted forward. The first. Human alien stand together. Lyra was on her knees when Elias reached the clearing. She was surrounded by 3 Devourer scouts, each aiming red energy rings at her. Elias stepped in front of her without hesitation. The soldiers gasped. Because the alien girl was no longer a shimmer in the woods. She was fully visible, glowing. Like a living star. Her eyes widened when she saw Elias. Came back. Elias lifted his rifle. Of course I did. I told you I don't leave people alone. One Devourer scout charged a blast. Elias aimed straight at it. Get behind me, he said. But Lyra shook her head weakly. No, this time, I protect you. Her wings ignited with brilliant light. She rose to her feet. Even the human soldiers stepped back. Lyra lifted her hands slowly. The air bent around her palms. Energy gathered, forming swirling rings of silver light. Elias whispered, Lyra, what are you doing? She answered with a trembling smile, something my people have always been too afraid to try. Then she attacked, a beam of white silver. Energy shot from her hands and hit the first Devourer scout. The ship spun wildly, crashing into the trees. The second scout fired a red blast at her. Elias stepped in front of her, shielding her with his body. The blast hit his armor, throwing him backward. Lyra screamed his name. Her power exploded. Her wings burst with pure light that whipped through the forest like a shockwave. The second ship shattered into black pieces. The soldiers couldn't believe what they were seeing. Girl who had always hidden her whole life. A girl who believed humans were dangerous. A girl who feared her own strength, was now fighting for them. But the Devourers adapt. The third scout rose above the trees. Its red core shifted shape into a new weapon adapted specifically to counter Lyra's light. Lyra gasped. They learned from my attack. The ship fired a spiraling red beam. Elias jumped up, trying to pull her aside, but the beam struck Lyra directly. She fell to the ground. Her glow flickered dangerously. No! Elias shouted, dropping beside her. Soldiers fired at the scout, but their bullets did nothing. The ship aimed again, this time to kill. Lyra looked up at Elias, weak but determined. Humans. Fight to protect, she whispered. And today, I want to be like you. She lifted her hand one last time. Her wings glowed with everything she had left, and she released a burst of energy, so bright that the entire forest lit up like daylight. Last Devourer Scout exploded. Silence fell. The soldiers stared at her, not with fear, but with awe. Elias lifted her gently. You saved us, Lyra breathed softly. For the first time. I chose to fight. But she wasn't smiling. She looked up at the sky, because now the destroyer ship was moving, not hiding. Not scanning, charging its main weapon, Lyra whispered. The real battle begins now. The ground trembled as the Devourer destroyer moved closer to the colony. It no longer hid. It no longer scanned. It simply hovered above the land like a giant shadow, ready to swallow everything beneath it. The sky turned dark red. Elias carried Lyra in his arms as the soldiers hurried back toward the colony walls. Her glow was faint, her wings cracked with energy loss. She looked like a dying star. Stay awake, Elias whispered, trying to keep his voice steady. He had faced many dangers, but nothing terrified him more than losing her. Lyra's eyes slowly opened. I am trying. Her voice was paper thin. Her breaths shallow. Behind them, the forest burned in small patches where the Devourer scouts had fallen. Smoke curled through the air like black vines. The sound of the destroyer's engines grew louder, vibrating every bone in Elias's body. A deep, metallic hum echoed across the land. The sound of a weapon charging. Lyra's eyes widened. They are preparing the annihilation beam. Elias's heart raced. What does that do? It wipes out everything alive within a radius, she whispered. They destroy worlds with it. Elias held her closer. Not this one, not tonight. The colony prepares. Commander Holt stood on the wall overlooking the land. His soldiers formed lines behind him, rifle teams, shield operators, engineers carrying heavy tech units. Every face was pale. Every hand shook slightly, but they stood ready. Elias reached the wall. The commander saw Lyra and froze. What? Is she? My friend, Elias said. And our only chance. Holt swallowed hard. We can't shoot down a destroyer. Our weapons are too weak. Lyra lifted her head. That is why we must not destroy it, only delay it. Delay? Holt repeated. What will that accomplish? They'll keep firing. Lyra pointed weakly at the sky. The annihilation beam needs several minutes to stabilize. If we interrupt its formation patterns even once, it collapses, it resets. Commander Holt understood instantly. So we need to disrupt their weapon before it fires? Yes, Lyra whispered. But not from here. Someone must get closer. Everyone looked toward Elias. He didn't hesitate. Tell me what to do. The plan. Lyra lifted her trembling hand and touched the side of Elias's neck. A soft light moved from her fingers into his skin. Elias felt a strange warmth spread across his body. What was that? A gift, Lyra whispered. A small part of my light. It will make you visible to me, and it will let you see the energy lines of the Devourer weapon. Elias blinked as glowing trails appeared in the sky like red threads connecting the destroyer to the ground. Lyra continued. If you fire at the center node, the bright core above the ship, it will destabilize the beam. Commander Holt quickly organized a team of snipers and heavy shooters, but Lyra shook her head. No, only Elias can see the true core. Only he can hit it. Elias tightened his grip on his rifle. Then I'll hit it. Lyra suddenly grabbed his hand with surprising strength. Her eyes pleaded with him. If you miss, we all die. Elias didn't break eye contact. I won't miss. The last stand. Elias and the soldiers moved outside the colony shield toward the open field. The red energy threads grew brighter. The destroyer's underbelly opened into a massive spiral, glowing like a hellish star. Elias raised his rifle. Everyone, hold position. A wind blast hit them as the beam powered up. The air vibrated like a living creature. Lyra stood behind the colony shield, barely able to stay upright. Commander Holt steadied her as she tried to focus. She whispered, "Elias, please be safe." Elias seized the unseen Elias, closed one eye, aiming at the sky. To normal humans, there was nothing to aim at. But to Elias, thanks to Lyra's light, he saw the weapon's heart, a bright red sphere, pulsing like a living heartbeat, floating above the destroyer. Hundreds of energy lines fed into it. It glowed brighter with each passing second. Elias steadied his breathing. The world went silent around him. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3. He fired. The bullet shot upward, leaving a white trail through the air. He watched it rise. 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 And then it passed directly through the energy heart. A burst of light exploded across the sky like fireworks. Lyra gasped. "It's working!" The red glow around the destroyer flickered violently. The weapon's spirals broke apart. Electricity cracked and danced. Across the hull, humans cheered, but the moment of victory was short. The destroyer roared. It wasn't defeated, only angry. The destroyer attacks back. A massive shockwave burst downward from the ship, knocking soldiers off their feet. Elias flew backward, hitting the ground hard. The destroyer began charging again, faster this time. It was adapting. "Elias!" Lyra screamed, voice cracking. He pushed himself up, coughing. "We need another hit." "No," Lyra pleaded. "The second charge is faster. You won't reach the core in time." Elias wiped blood from his mouth. "Then we do something else." He threw down his rifle and reached for a fallen heavy cannon nearby. "Ward, you can't fire that alone." "A soldier!" shouted. Elias lifted it anyway. "Watch me." He aimed the heavy cannon upward. The glowing core spun violently, forming a new beam. Too fast. Lyra realized the truth in horror. Elias could not stop this one, unless... She closed her eyes. There was one thing left. Something her people never used. Something forbidden. The Lightweaver. Burst. A full-body discharge of all her energy. If she used it, she would die. But Elias would live. She opened her eyes. "I choose him." Her wings opened wide, glowing brighter than ever before. Cracks of white light spread across her body. Commander Holt yelled, "What are you doing?" Lyra whispered, "Becoming what I was afraid to be." And she flew. The self-sacrificelera shot into the sky like a silver comet. Elias saw her rise above him, her light growing brighter than the destroyer's weapon. "Lyra!" "No." But she didn't stop. She flew directly into the path of the annihilation beam. At the moment it fired, she released the Lightweaver burst. A blinding explosion filled the sky. The beam shattered. The destroyer's core overloaded. The ship cracked open, metal twisting like paper. Flames burst from its sides as its engines failed. The giant destroyer fell, not slowly, but violently. It crashed into the mountains with a sound that shook the entire planet. Humans screamed. Soldiers dropped their weapons. Commander Holt fell to his knees. Elias stood frozen, staring at the sky. The red glow faded. The clouds parted, but Lyra was gone, only soft, falling sparks of silver light drifted through the air like snow. Elias reached out his hand, catching the glowing particles. His voice cracked. "Lyra, please, come back." But the sky did not answer, and the battlefield fell silent. The world was quiet, too quiet. The giant Devour destroyer lay broken across the distant mountains, its twisted metal still glowing from the crash. Smoke rose into the sky like dark fingers. Pieces of the ship rained down slowly, each shard burning as it fell. But none of it mattered. Not to Elias. He stood in the open field, trembling, staring at the fading silver dust floating through the air. It drifted around him like falling snow, soft, glowing, Silent, the last remains of Lyra. The girl who saved them. The girl who gave everything. Elias lifted his shaking hand and let the glowing particles settle onto his palm. They warmed his skin, then dissolved into nothing. He clenched his fist. "No, no, please," he whispered. His voice cracked. His knees weakened. Commander Holt slowly approached behind him. "Ward, we have to regroup. The soldiers need orders. The wounded." Elias didn't turn around. "She saved all of us," Elias said, his voice empty. "She saved this entire world." Holt lowered his head. "Yes, she did." Elias finally looked up at him, eyes red. "And she died alone." Holt shook his head softly. "No, she died protecting someone she cared about." Elias felt those words hit his heart. He swallowed hard, unable to breathe. Far above them, the last spark of silver light faded from the sky. The colony reacts word spread quickly. Humans gathered outside their homes. Children stared at the sky. Soldiers whispered the story in disbelief. An alien girl, a creature no one even knew existed, had sacrificed herself for humans. People who feared the unknown now felt something different. Respect, gratitude, and sadness. Commander Holt made a public announcement. This colony survived because one outsider chose courage over fear. Today, we honor her. She is one of us. People bowed their heads silently, but Elias couldn't stay for speeches. He walked back to the forest alone. The forest remembers. The place where Lyra had fought still glowed lightly. Trees were bent, burned, and cracked. The ground was covered with silver dust. He knelt where she had last stood. He touched the earth, whispering, "You didn't have to fight. You didn't have to save us, but you did. And you never even asked for anything." A soft breeze moved through the trees, carrying small glowing particles toward him. For a moment, the air shimmered like her invisibility flicker. Elias froze. "Lyra?" But the shimmer faded, just the wind. He closed his eyes in pain. Something strange happens. Hours passed. Soldiers searched the area. Engineers studied the remains of the Devourer ships. Medical teams treated the injured. The world moved on. But Elias stayed, staring at the dirt beneath his hands. One soldier approached him cautiously. "Sir, please eat something." "You haven't moved." Elias didn't answer. He just whispered to the ground. "You said you wanted to be seen. And you were, by everyone, by all of humanity, but I—" His voice broke. "I didn't want to lose you." Then, suddenly, the ground under his hand warmed. Elias pulled back, startled. The soil glowed faint silver, then brighter. Then brighter until a beam of soft blue-white light shot upward. Soldiers jumped back in shock. Commander Holt shouted, "Everyone stand down." But Elias stepped forward. The light swirled like a small tornado, lifting dust, leaves, and broken pieces of Lyra's shattered energy. The particles spun faster and faster, forming a shape, a small shape, a familiar shape. Elias's heart thudded. "No, this can't be." The swirling light pulsed, then collapsed inward, and someone fell out of it. Someone glowing faintly, weak, shivering, but alive. "Lyra returns." Elias sprinted forward and dropped to his knees. Lyra, the alien girl, lay in the grass, breathing softly, her wings dim but intact. Her eyes fluttered open. When she saw him, her lips curved into the smallest, weakest smile. "You always shout when you see me." Elias laughed through tears. He pulled her into his arms, holding her gently as if she were made of glass. "I thought I lost you." She touched his cheek weakly. "You almost did. The light weaver burst destroys energy. But I remembered your words." "My words?" Elias asked. Lyra nodded. "You told me being seen is a gift." Elias closed his eyes, overwhelmed. Lyra continued, though her voice was faint. "When I used the burst, my body broke, but my light stayed. And light always returns to where it feels safe. She placed her hand over his chest. It returned to you. Elias felt tears fall. You came back because of me. No, she smiled softly. I came back because I wanted to live. And for the first time in my life, I wanted to live in a world where I am not invisible. A new beginning. Commander Holt approached. Stunned. Is she alive? Lyra nodded slightly. Not fully. Not yet. My energy is small. I must heal. Elias held her closer. We'll help you. All of us. Lyra looked around, seeing hundreds of humans watching her, not with fear, but with respect. Some were crying. Some were smiling. Some whispered her name. She felt something in her chest, something warm. Something she never felt among her own. Species. Acceptance. That Commander Holt stepped forward and saluted her. You saved this colony. Saved our world. If you wish to stay, you will always be welcome. Lyra blinked, surprised. Her whole life, she believed humans were monsters. But now, humans were offering her a home. She whispered, Thank you. Elias looked at her carefully. And your people? Will they reveal themselves now? Lyra shook her head slowly. Not yet. They still fear humans. They do not understand you, not like I do. Elias smiled softly. Then we'll help them understand, one day. Lyra touched his hand. I would like that. The legend begins. Weeks passed. The colony rebuilt. The Devourer remains were studied. Humans created a memorial at the forest edge, a tall silver stone, glowing softly at night. At the top was a carving, to the invisible girl who chose to be seen and saved us all. Lyra visited it often. Sometimes she stood invisible, sometimes visible, but always smiling, and Elias stood beside her as he promised. Together they walked the colony grounds. Together they helped humans prepare for future threats. Together they began building trust between two species who once feared each other. Lyra healed slowly. Her wings grew bright again. Her energy returned, and her heart felt lighter every day. One night, as the sky shone with stars, Lyra looked at Elias. You changed my life, she said softly. Elias shook his head. You saved mine. She smiled. No, you saw me, truly saw me. Before anyone else. He touched her glowing hand gently. And I always will. Lyra looked up at the stars, her heart warm. She once believed invisibility was safety. Now she knew the truth. Being seen was the beginning of her new life, and so the story spread across the galaxy, the tale of the alien girl who thought she was invisible, and the human who proved she never was.